We do use point click care on the
Okay.
assistant living as well. Of course, yeah, different components, but yeah, it's both sides.
Gotcha. So we have just a little bit of background. I've been doing this for like probably 30 years plus on the SNF. I used to do more ALF, but not much anymore. I used to be in different states with a different a public company we were in, but now mostly on the SNF side. And so we've spent probably the last 12 years like really customizing our point click care. So we have like we started with sort of our own little incubator SNFs where currently we have about 77 like active specialized UDAs or user defined assessments where, for example, like if you take out of the box a plain Jane vanilla point click care software without upgrading it, your licensed nurses, monthly summary would be 16 pages, right? So we've, done things like condensed it down to like 6 pages with the same information and getting those the nurses at the ground level because they asked for it. They said, "How could we streamline these things?" So we've done that a lot. Then it took a new element where we tried to work with point click care on if you guys just had this, it would be nice. And they'd always tell us, well, it's under development. And we're like, then it's under development for so long. We asked them if we could create some things. So Colin and the team at Pursue Tech started creating some different applications, which he probably won't present on today. But there's different things like password reset functions for, if you for some, during COVID we had registry or it would force instead of or a weekend nurse, for example, or a CNA trying to sign in to point click care, many times if they clock in too quick, they'll get shut out of point click care. They can't do any work because they have to have their password's got to reset. So we have like password reset functions. We have scanning functions that go right into the chart. So our goal has been to become 100% electronic. So no charts whatsoever at the nursing station, like zero charts. So in order to do that, we had to have scanning functions. We have like iAudit apps. And so Colin can talk about those later, but what we wanted to talk to you all today about was just another partnership we have with Chris, and I'll let him do all the talking and I'll shut up. But it was really this function of our clinical reimbursement staff. We have regionals that go out, a couple of folks that go out, and then we have the whole accounts receivable team, a Medicare team, audit team, all that. And so we've been for I would say the last 20 years, we've been so focused on this triple check process to make sure that we have 100% of them signed off. Are they done? Is it accurate? And we know it's not a catch-all, but it is actually a huge part of avoiding denials out of the gate. So they came to us and they said, what can we do to like stop on any of these heavier volume sniffs with Medicare and even managed care we're doing now? How do we get out of a room with 8 people for 9 hours every month or however long it takes, depending on the volume? And how do we streamline this and make it? So then that's where Chris came in and he goes, well, let me start working on this. And so with that, I'll let him present it to you. Our people are elated because the computer's doing things for them, and we've gone back and forth with Chris on saying, well, we need to have it do this or we need to have it do that. So I'll let Chris take over and we'll try to make sure we don't go over the time limit, but I'll shut up. But that's sort of an introduction to it. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, hey everybody. How's everyone doing this morning? This afternoon, I suppose.
Yeah.
I know I was a few minutes late. I apologize. Is everyone able to see my screen okay here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, just to kind of start, I'd love maybe if we can just do some quick introductions. I'd just love to know a little bit more about you guys and what your roles are. I can quickly go first and then pass it over. I'm Chris Stobie. I founded Acuri in the last year. Formerly was a U.S. Army veteran, transitioned into technology leadership over the last 10 to 15 years. I've worked in the AI space for around 6 years and have led engineering teams for close to 15. So would love to learn more about you all before we jump into this deck here.
I can go first. Hi, My name is Stephanie Talley. I am the Senior Regional Director of Clinical Services for a skilled line of business. Been with Brookdale for about 17 years.
Wow.
I'll do it next because I'm the oldest, and so I get to. My name is Deb, and I work in compliance, and I do the audits and aid. I also do ADRs and appeals for the entire SNF, all the communities, and I guess that's about it. Chris, thank you for your service as well.
Thank you. Great to meet you both.
My name's Stacy Racobs. I've been with Brookdale for about 15 months now and Director of Clinical Reimbursement. So all MDS fun stuff.
Awesome.
And I'm Joey Sears. I'm the Regional REI Director for all SNF portfolio. So I work with Stacy pretty closely. I'm right behind Stephanie, coming up on my 17 years here in a couple of months.
Wow. That's super impressive, you guys. That's awesome. Well, it's great to meet you all. Thank you for the introductions. I can jump in. Everyone can still see my screen, I think, with the slide deck here. Just want to confirm. Awesome. Well, like Jose said, we can kind of get started here. I'm Chris, founder of Acuri. Today, I just want to talk about a new product that we've built over the last 7 months that fully automates the process that facilities currently are performing manually, generally, to submit a claim for Medicare or managed care. Kind of just, again, high level, U.S. Army. I guess the other thing I want to add here in my background is that I'm very familiar with security and compliance. I've led FedRAMP, HITRUST, SOC 2, HIPAA for several entities, including the DOJ, Optum, Kaiser, Blue Cross. So very familiar with building secure, scalable software systems. And we have Colin as well. Colin, I don't know, did you already do an intro before I joined?
Yeah, so my name is Colin Hart. I'm CEO of Pursue Tech. We do post-acute software solutions. I'm coming on about 20 years in this space, and we do apps. We partner with Chris as well, but some of the apps we do are some of the ones that Jose was talking about with the iAudit, iRound, Scan to PCC, and some of those other solutions unique to point-click care. And currently we're in well over 1,000, in the US here facilities.
Cool. Thanks, Colin. Yeah, so as Jose kind of mentioned, I met a while back with Jose and Colin and talked to them about this idea and this process of triple check. We chatted through kind of how they are currently doing things, how they do their triple check audits today, the current pain points. And we decided to partner and build some software specifically dedicated, to SNFs, focused on building this solution that would reduce these pains. The partnership for me with Colin and Jose was really foundational, just because it gave me so much more insight into the pain that real folks are having every day during these audits. I personally actually visited several of the facilities that Jose has, just to sit in on the audits. And I can't understate, I'm sure you all have done these audits just given your roles, but I can't understate how painful they were as an observer. I think we had 7 people all sitting in a room. We have stacks of papers everywhere, and there's computers open, and someone's reading a name and they're spelling the name out loud, and someone's checking 3 other documents. And you all know, I'm sure, this process. But for me, seeing this in person, it really highlighted how much we could help just by reducing some of this manual work that's being done over and over again. And so, I'm just curious, out of these 3 topics, cash conversion quality, audit evidence, is there anything in particular, in these 3 areas that is more interesting to you than another? Stephanie, what about you? What is most important to your role?
Well, certainly I think working smarter and streamlining processes is always, effective. And of course, we run a business, so we want those, those workflows to be successful, but also have, hopefully impact the bottom line to take care of our residents. So.
Awesome. Stacy, what about you? What's most important to you out of these areas?
Mine would probably be a toss up between quality and the audit evidence.
Quality and audience, yeah. Well, luckily for you guys, we're going to talk about all three because we focused on all three of these things when we built our software. So there's a little bit of a catch-22 to set myself up for a little bit of success maybe later. Awesome. Let me just switch here. So just want to start by talking about the current compliance challenge that you guys face. But before I do, I'm just curious, can anyone here describe to me what your current triple check audit process looks like? Like, what do you guys do today for this process?
We have a Medicare log that they fill out electronically throughout the month, and it hopefully is completed prior to going into triple check. So even our really high buildings normally get out of triple check within 2-ish hours.
Okay, so you guys keep like regular kind of update throughout the month for different patients. Okay, very cool. And do you track every?
It bleeds in. We actually do have information that pulls in from PCC as well as Net Health, so it's not 100% manual.
Oh, cool. And do you guys have like a spreadsheet or like how do you track sort of the checklist that gets done each month?
So it's all built into the log, and it's proprietary. I don't know, some guru with a lot more computer sense than me made it. So it is built so that when you're coming close to the second recertification date, it turns yellow. If you're past it, it turns red. And so it's got common working file information, the QIS, the non-knock issue date, all of that's kind of built in. It's exported into a PDF document, but it's done throughout the month as things occur so that when you get to the end of the month, all of those checkboxes are completed.
Okay, great. And just curious, do you also bill in real time, or do you wait until end of month to bill for the claims for the prior month?
I want to say in order to get the ancillaries in there, they do wait. So until we receive the ancillary information from pharmacy and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So once the ancillaries are in, so I do believe it ends up by being on a monthly basis and not an ad hoc.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that sounds familiar to sort of what we've seen with some other customers. It sounds like you guys actually have a little bit of a better process in that you have some automated data ingestion going on, which is great. But the whole batch claim reviews and cash flow waiting, I think, is a similar story to what we've chatted with other folks on. What we see and what we see with CMS and OIG is that their expectations, are that these facilities perform audits with these internal controls and processes. I think today most facilities are doing a lot of human manual efforts. It sounds like you guys are doing a little bit better there. Still, maybe a monthly meeting where you're going through an audit. Our goal is to completely replace, the entire manual process of the triple check audit. So with that said, we've built software focused on automating this process fully. Similar to what you guys were mentioning with your tool, we pull in data from Point Click Care. We automatically generate claims as soon as we have a patient that's matching the criteria for a claim to be generated. As soon as a claim is generated, we immediately start evaluating it on a set of rules. And so we use Jose and his wonderful team to sort of define, what are the industry standard best practice checks that we want to perform for a claim before it's sent to billing. And those immediately start analyzing based on all the information we pull in from Point Click Care against all the different data points, and we flag for discrepancies or missing information in real time as we ingest this data. So with Acuri, we remove the need entirely for these monthly meetings. And it sounds like yours are a little bit better. 2 hours is better than 10 hours and better than 14, which I know some folks go through. But we remove the need for a meeting at all. The stakeholders that I've been working with are excited to no longer have to sit in on this meeting and go through these manual processes. I think the main point with the comment here is that just there are massive benefits, across the board. Like not only do you get, organizational improvements in terms of manpower, but you get compliance improvements, potential cash flow improvements. So one of the other areas that we really wanted to help with is real-time billing. And so obviously you have to wait for your ancillaries. But one of our goals is to work with these ancillary providers and consume the information in a quicker cycle so that we can bill in real time and bring that cash flow forward. I think one of the other areas is that with the software that we have, you get better confidence that all of the things are being followed. I know you guys mentioned you have your checklist already. I'm not sure exactly how it works and how you guys are monitoring kind of who's doing what, but one of the things that we've built is an audit log so we can see exactly what user is doing what data they're uploading, who's approving, who's disapproving, and we can sort of see exactly what's happening within these audits. Just for if you were to get audited by Medicare, we have that track record of exactly what happened with the claim. We reduce audit fatigue. I think one of the other issues is tribal knowledge and turnover issues. As folks leave the company, you have to retrain them on your systems and your software and your custom manual efforts. And there's a lot of obviously issues with that. So if, with our software, you want to bill every week, or if you want to bill the second a patient is discharged, we start analyzing those claims pretty much immediately. And it just requires, a couple seconds of document analysis for us to really get something ready for billing. At the highest level, the way that we work is we ingest data from two primary sources, the first being Point Click Care directly. So we are a partner with Point Click Care. We're in their marketplace. We pull data from their APIs. We pull data from them programmatically. And then the second area that we get our information from is from document uploads. And so Point Click Care doesn't support all of the data sources that we require. I'm sure you guys know in order to complete a claim. And so we allow you to upload a document, say MDS or the common working file, and we analyze the document using our AI layer to make determination on what data is in that document, what type of document is this, and then we compare that against all the other data points that we have for a rule for the audit. Point Click Care is really the source of truth, and so we try and use it as a base layer of what we compare against. And so with the documents, we look at the name, spelling, and we compare it against exactly what we get from Point Click Care, so we get better accuracy there. As we see new data enter our system, we continuously evaluate the claim against our rules. And so as soon as there's a new data point, for example, if we have a claim created, we've already got the name, we've already got the patient ingested into our system. If you go upload an MDS document for analysis, the second that document is uploaded, I'd say around 15 seconds of processing time, you'll have all of the information extracted from the MDS that's relevant to a triple check audit. It's ingested, run against the other data, and then you get an analysis on what was in that document and whether or not it's passing the required checks for a triple check audit. So things like the HIPS code or diagnosis or any of the other things that we want to make sure are accurate, we automatically do on your behalf. So there's no data entry whatsoever with our system. We even do some soft checks. So, for example, I don't know what your guys' triple check process looks like entirely and what your steps are, but one thing I think gets missed sometimes is when you're looking at a pharmacy log, a lot of times you just look and see if it's there and if it's been logged. But if there's a bill that's high enough, like say a $30,000 line item on pharmacy, that's something that we'd want to flag. And so there are things that aren't specifically comparison points or hard rules, but they're more soft sort of intelligence layer rules that our AI looks at and says, well, this seems like something that we should flag because it's a bit of an anomaly and it's probably a mistake or something similar. And so we just, highlight it for review. If there is at any point an issue with the claim, we require at least 2 approvers to fix that issue and to mark it as resolved. And our goal with this is to really have that accountability. We don't ever want a single individual to be able to override a data element or to make a change that results in a claim being approved. And so we have this concept of roles and permissions that requires at least 2 people to approve and override. And that approval and that override is all logged in our audit log. So we get all of that visibility of who did what when. And as soon as a claim is ready for billing, so once we've got all the data, we've ingested everything from Point Click Care, from our documents, it's ready for billing. We route it to the necessary parties for their sign off, MDS, billing, rehab. Once all the parties have reviewed the claim and clicked approved, which again gets logged in the audit log, we say that this claim is ready for billing. And all this takes place in real time. The second a patient exists in Point Click Care that qualifies, our process is triggered. The only time gap is documentation, which you guys already mentioned, the ancillaries and some of those things. But the second we have ancillaries, everything runs in real time and we analyze it constantly.
Sorry, Angie stopped by. She said she had tried to get on and couldn't get on. So she apologizes that she's not on.
No problem, Angie. So, what this means for enterprises, foolproof for high turnover. And, I think there's a lot of staff changes in SNFs. And so even if there's a staff change, our software runs so reliably and with such minimal overhead that you can train someone on how it works very easily, as opposed to some of the more custom or in-house built tools or manual checklists. We're aligned with CMS and OIG. You know, we've hard coded our best practices. Again, thanks to Jose and team for helping us with this. And these are the required elements in the workflow so that every claim meets the federal regulatory standards that are expected at that level. These are defined at the organizational level, is another thing I think that's important to call out. And so if you have 10, 12 facilities at the org level for all of your facilities, you can define what your required checks are, and every facility has to adhere to it, and you get the programmatic visibility into every claim going through that all in our software. Every claim is checked. No claim can slip through. It either passes the audit or it's flagged. Everything syncs with point click care. So it's, you know, you can't miss a claim. Well, audit Reddit proof, you know, we have every check for the claim that goes through our audit trail, so we can see again exactly who's doing what for a claim. And then I think another thing that's really important is that we're unbiased, right? I think one of the things that the auditors like to see is when you're auditing a claim or you're looking at something like triple check, that it's being done by a third party. Obviously, if you audit yourselves, I think there's slightly less value than if someone else audits you. So we're unbiased. We have no internal bias. We surface errors before billing, and we shield facilities from false or inaccurate claims. So, you know, I mentioned this before, just want to mention it again because I think it's really important, is that you can define the rules at the organizational level. And so at the very top level at the org, you define what every facility has to follow. At the org level, you can see the audit trail. Everything everyone does is totally tamper-proof. It can't be changed. You get evidence of what happens when and where and by who. And again, just calling out again, dual overrides for changes. So no single individual in any facility can make a change without a secondary approver. And with this, I'm going to do just a quick demo here, and you guys can stop me at any time if you have questions. Let me stop sharing and share the right screen. So this is when you first log into our platform, this is what we see. So we have some statistics on the number of claims that have come into our system in the last month. We can see how many claims have been completed, active claims, pending review, what the success rate is. Right now, we only have one passing claim, sort of by design, and so we can see what this looks like. We have all of our patients listed. We have their billing start dates, which we can sort and filter by. And with that, I'll jump into a specific claim here we have for John Wick. And this claim is currently passing, which means that all of the rules and all of the tests that we have for this claim are passing what we expect. And I'll show you what that looks like. So one of the rules that we evaluate for on a claim is the 3 midnight qualifying stay, which we get from the UBO4 document, from the claim document. We can see that the UBO4 had the qualifying stay that was valid, and so we mark it as true. And again, all of this comes from the document upload. So you just upload the doc, we handle the rest. There's no data input, no manual data entry whatsoever. We're analyzing the PDFs automatically and making a determination based on what's in the document itself. Some other examples here, resident name and Medicare number accuracy. So we're checking the UBO4, and in this case, we're checking it against Point Click Care's APIs. So we look at Point Click Care, we check the resident name spelling, and we look at the claim document, and we ensure that the spelling is the same, that the Medicare numbers are the same, and that everything is expected. We check for primary and secondary diagnosis consistency. So again, you can see here, UBO4, face sheet, MDS, these are all compared against the primary source, which is Point Click Care in almost all cases. And we ensure that we have parity with the diagnoses that are expected with the various documents that we're checking against. Let's see, let's find an MDS rule. So here's one that's looking at MDS. And so this is pulling data from the MDS document. We're looking for things like HIPS code. And in this case, we found that the MDS code, the HIPS code for this MDS document was NA2FO. We see the same in the UBO4. We look for ARD on both documents. We compare, we ensure everything is consistent. Let's see, one other area here that I'll show really quickly is NTA points. And so another thing that we do is as soon as we get an MDS document, we analyze it for possible NTA points, and then we calculate the total number of points based on what we find in the document. Whenever we find points as well, we list out what we found specifically with the text and the location in the document so that you can see exactly what we're making our analysis on for the increase in billing. I'm going to show you guys something really quick. So I'm gonna break this claim sort of on purpose. And so what I'm gonna do is upload a bad document just so you can see sort of how this works in real time and see what the opposite sort of experience would be. So we've got this document uploading right now. We don't know what document it is. We're gonna process it. Usually just takes a couple of seconds here. And we can see it's already complete. And so for this document, we were able to extract all of this information, the ARD, the HIPS code, the name, service unit, service charge, all of this information is pulled straight from the document in just a matter of seconds. So we were able to pretty much go and, let's see, 9 seconds, pull all the information from this document and integrate it with our software. And so if we go back to the detailed view, we can see now we have some failing rules, which is expected. We can see that for the resident name and Medicare accuracy, they have different names, different numbers. So these are, of course, failing. And you can see this happens in real time. So the second these changes occur, we're evaluating them in real time and marking them as pass fail. And these will notify individuals, of the failures so that they can go and review them. Similarly, here we see, diagnosis is incorrect. It doesn't match what we have in the UB04. It doesn't match what we have in MDS. Based on what's provided, and so we mark this as a failing rule. And then I'll just go and really quick show you the audit history here as well. And so we can see here everything that's happened with this claim since its creation, all of the documents that have been uploaded. You can see this is one of my test claims based on the large number of history here. But we can see just recently we uploaded the new UB04 document. And we found that there were some discrepancies with the document. And we can see here that 18 rules processed, 15 passed, and 3 failed. And we have all of this visibility right in our interface. So really quick, I'll go in and I'll re-upload the correct document so we can see what that looks like in real time as well. We'll upload our John Wick document.
So Chris, just a real quick question. And so for documents to be analyzed, is it also happening, like, let's say the MDS piece, so we don't have to like upload that MDS, right? It already exists in point click care. So with your integration, you're being able to analyze that data.
So point click care doesn't surface MDS through their endpoints. So point click care has a number of data elements that we can pull from them, but MDS is not one. We're not quite sure why they don't expose that to us, but so for some things, it requires a manual upload of the PDF document. And so once an assessment is complete, you just export it and upload the PDF into our software. There's no way today, from my conversation with the point click care, for us to get that automatically in a full automated fashion. And so we have to go through the upload process.
And so that would be, so uploading into point click care or uploading into this database.
It would upload into this interface, just like I was showing here in the upload. So in point click care, you would go click on the assessment, click on export, and download that PDF, and then upload it here. And it takes about 9 seconds to analyze from there.
And so that would be the same thing like at the UB04.
Yeah, there's a couple of documents that we have that we do this for. So common working file, cert documents, H&P and the UB04, as well as the MDS. And then some optional docs if they're relevant, the non-knock and a couple other things. But these are kind of the core documents that we are unable to get from point click care in an automated way. And so it does require an upload.
And then on the cert recert, what if that's a handwritten document? Does that matter, or does it have to be like an original electronic format?
Nope, handwritten is totally fine. And I'll show you here what that looks like on our side. But we can see the claim is back in passing status. We uploaded the correct UB04. All rules are passing now. And then to the cert question, let me find our cert here. So this PDF is a hand signature. It's very sloppy. It's a doctor's signature with doctor's dates. We're still able to pull everything we need from there, and so we can see the physician signature is correct. We can see the signature date matches our expectation. And so for this rule, what we're checking, is that the physician signed before the signature date, and if there's a recert, that the physician signed the recert before the signature date was due. And this all happens automatically, so it's all done through the OCR programmatically. And it doesn't matter the quality. If it's very, very low quality, there's always a chance of failure. And in those cases, we would flag that we were unable to process the document, and it would require some manual intervention. But generally speaking, the models that we're using are very highly accurate and can work with any number of handwritten type of documents. On the note
All right,
of
thank you.
Oh yeah, of course. On the note of documents, we talked about a couple of these. One thing I'll call out as well is I'm not sure, Colin, have you talked to them about Scan2 yet?
No.
So one of the products that Colin and Jose have actually is a really nice way to scan documents directly to point-click care. So if you're working with a handwritten document like a CERT document, instead of going to your computer and uploading it manually to point-click care, you're able to just go to your fax or your scanner in your office and scan the document, and it'll automatically upload it to point-click care for you with Colin's software. And so one of the things we're doing is partnering with Colin so that when you scan a document to send to point-click care, it can also send to us, so there's less manual work for you guys, and we can get everything that we need from that process. And I'll let Colin have a whole separate conversation with you guys about Scan2, but it's a pretty cool product. And so that's the main kind of overview that I had for today. I just want to pause and see if there's any questions about anything I've shown or anything in the product I can show here.
And then I do have another question about the NTA points. And so, because I noticed, I think there was H&P listed as one of the documents. So can it scrub other documents to see if there's potential NTA points, or is that just truly coming off of what was in the MDS?
So we do MDS. We also support H&P. We actually support any documents for PDPM enhancements. So if you wanted to look at an array of documents, we can look at just about anything you send us to look for the markers that would result in an increase in that billing capability.
So that would alert the building then to redo the MDS to add those for NTAs.
Well,
Exactly.
or would it trigger us before, like, let's just say we scan documents in the first day or two of that admission, and we haven't even done the MDS. Would it alert us to say, hey, this is, look at this potential NTA, or would we have to wait until we've completed the MDS and then it says, hey, you may have left this on the table, kind of type thing?
So I'll say that it depends on what your workflow is for MDS. If you do MDS, I'm not sure exactly when you do it for your facilities, but the second a patient is admitted and they're a valid Medicare patient, we create this claim in our system. So if you admit a patient and then in the same day or the next day upload an H&P through to our system, we'll immediately evaluate it and tell you what all the points are. And so if that happens before the MDS is performed, we'll let you know, hey, there's all these things in the H&P that you can go look for, so you can incorporate that into your first MDS assessment. So it just depends on what your timing is within your facility. Yeah.
Would it tell them where in the H&P you found that at? Because we trust, but we have to verify. Joey's
It does. Yeah, it tells you what page. Oh, yeah, we want. For this portion of the software, we really want the verify component. And so we let you know what document we found it in, what page of the PDF. We're actually working on a feature where it'll open the PDF for you to the page it's on and highlight the location that it was discovered, so you can very quickly and easily map out the source of everything right in the software.
Great.
Yeah, and one other enhancement it does, like for example, there's other softwares out there that will take an H&P and that'll digitize the trail of the page number, and some companies will use it just for support after the fact if they're in a big ZPIC or RAC audit or what have you. But this particular function will actually, because what we have found is a lot of people will just highlight something in an H&P and just move on. And our clinical reimbursement staff spend a lot more time on reviewing sort of the sentence before and the sentence after that, because that's so important than just highlighting the word. So we're really expanding that to read beyond just the diagnosis or what have you in there. So it's pretty trick. And the one thing for me on this, sorry to interrupt your question, is the digital trail. Because I for 30 years, I'm like, they said it was done. They signed off on the triple check, but did it really get done and by who? And it from an audit feature, it's so great to have that digital trail just to know you can have confidence that it was done and that you can go back through and see the digital trail of the audit. And that's for me from a compliance perspective and working with we do a lot of compliance stuff and our company, we view ourselves as extremely conservative on the PDPM side because we don't want to ever get in issues with the government. We have very, very, very few racks or ZPICs or what have you for that reason. But that's probably that's the most exciting thing for me in all this.
I
Yeah,
have a
we
couple
really
of
want that
questions.
history.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Deb.
go ahead, Deb.
Number one, I missed a bit. Could you just start over again?
I'm happy to. I'll go slower this time as well.
Yeah. Sorry, the internet's been out all day. We got an email this morning that they would be working on it and expect sporadic outages, and of course it would occur then. But my real question is regarding the certs. You said that whether signatures were within the rules. Is that just the standard, as soon as reasonable and then by day 14, or is
So
it
we
adjusted because the rules are flexible? If you sign it on day 6 and say it's for 15 days, then you need to get it signed in 15 days.
Yeah, one thing I'll say as well about the platform is that we're highly configurable. So we know every facility is different. And so whatever your requirements are for something like this, we would define the rule to match your requirements. And we actually have some capabilities as well to build your own rules, which I'll show quickly here. So if you wanted to create a new custom rule that tests for whatever you want to test for, we actually let you look at all of the data that we have from all the documents from point click care, birth dates, admit dates, whatever we have, and you can sort of define what rule you want to evaluate, and then this will get included in the claim in the same way all the other rules get included in the claim. And if there's something that's outside the bounds of what we have defined in that engine, we can configure it for you. And so if you let us know we want to check this cert document in this way, we would just configure the rule for your facility to do so. We've sort of taken, to Jose's point, a conservative approach with our list of rules as our standard, but we plan and expect every facility to have different rules and different checks and tests, and so we made the platform super configurable to accommodate that.
Okay, thank you.
And I might have missed this, Steph might have asked this already. So when you guys are configuring that it passes, does that also make sure that there's a skillable need that was documented on every day?
I'm not sure if that's one of the rules we have currently. I know that we can support the skillable need. I am trying to recall where that comes from in point click care. Where do you guys document that currently, the skillable need?
They have a daily skilled note that they have to do. And if that's not done, then like we would look to see if therapy was in that day. And if they weren't, then we'd look at like the MAR TAR to see if we had any IVs or any pressure ulcers or surgical stuff that would show we had a skilled need that day. And if none of those are there, then that day is a default day.
So if it's in patient notes in point click care, we can get that information and correlate it to a diagnosis or to a claim and tell you on this, for this specific thing, there's this note that correlates. That's not a rule that's configured currently, so I can't show that in the interface, but that's something that we can support very easily.
So let me ask you, Chris, that's would be, it's a created user-defined assessment. And so would we have to upload that into the system, or is that something that you see from the PCC integration?
So any assessment needs to go through the upload process. I will say this was a bit of an interesting integration with point click care, and that they do expose their assessments, and so we actually can ingest all assessments that you log in point click care and use that data. The tricky thing for us is determining if an assessment is the primary MDS assessment or not. And so for MDS specifically, we ask that you upload it so we know exactly what what it is, what you're giving us for that specific assessment, but we can get all of the assessment information and include it in our software. We just wouldn't be able to determine the assessment type because for some reason Point Click Care doesn't expose that information to us.
Okay. And then do you look at anything related to orders, like if they're signed, in a timely manner, or?
Yeah, those are one of the ancillary documents we support. And so as long as the document's uploaded, we would check the signature, the dates. Yep.
I don't have any more questions right now. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Is your guys' skilled note in UDA format, you said?
Yes.
That's correct.
So like similar to ours, for example, like you have, what is it? It's a customized version of the PCC's form. What is just a high level? Is it just done in your format, a little bit more truncated to what the standard PCC skilled note looks like?
Right. It's a created form.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's 100% custom.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, good. How many pages is it?
2.
Oh, good.
Maybe.
Because that's 2.5.
Yeah.
That's good. Ours is 2.5. Awesome.
Yeah, it's built to push pull to the MDS. So there's a lot of functionality built within the system.
Yeah,
Did
and
you-
it'll show hide stuff, and depending on what they respond as well.
Did you guys get hugs for doing that for them?
Yeah.
There
Well,
was many a
I-
night
I-
at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Stephanie building forms.
Yeah,
No, it's funny. It's funny because we've done this over the years, and like we had 12 nursing homes, and we did it. And I walked through the nursing home, the facilities to the MDS and the RNs, and I'm like, "Hey, did you guys like this?" And yeah, I had to ask them, but they're like, "Oh my God, who did this?" But it's funny. You have to, but good for you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I generally the thing I like to check in on next is just if we can get some time with some of you folks to really understand what your existing processes are. I want to map out some of your requirements to our software, understand if there's any gaps that we need to configure for you. And so I would love to get some time on the calendar with whoever you guys feel is appropriate for me to walk through your current triple check process, what the rules are that you're evaluating, what the tests are, what's most important to you, to ensure that we have some sort of parity. And then generally what we like to do is just give you guys a free pilot just to see if you like the software, if it meets your needs, if it makes your lives better, easier, and get some feedback in that regard. So in terms of setting up some time, I can follow up in an email after this, but would love to get some time on the calendar and really understand your guys' workflows.
Yeah, I think Chris, just following back up with Angie, I would like to hear if an opportunity from Colin a little bit more about the scan to PCC component and what that looks like.
Yeah, I can shoot you an email if that works, and we can set up a quick call. Usually I can run through a demo, maybe 15, 20 minutes, but it's a fantastic app. I mean, it gets your documents into that chart super fast, integrates with all your copiers, your eFax as well, and all kinds of stuff. It's a powerful one.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Thanks, Colin.
Of course.
Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions, thank you all for your time. I really appreciate everyone joining and listening in. I'll send a follow-up email and try and time scheduled with you folks to dig in on your workflow and understand what our parity is with the rules that we're performing now and the checks that you guys do in your facilities.
That sounds great.
Nice to meet you
Thank
all.
you.
Yep, thanks,
Nice
guys.
to meet you all too.
So
Okay.
much.
Great meeting you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.